We started off the discussions with a working session on migration and asylum, with focus on reducing the pressure of illegal migration to the EU through effective cooperation with third countries on return. Ensuring effective return of irregular migrants is essential to ensure the credibility of EU policies in the field of international protection and legal migration. The lack of returns is a real problem for many member states, and that the current levels of returns are not adequate. This has a negative impact on the member states' abilities to handle new arrivals and undermines the legitimacy of the EU's system for asylum and migration.
Many member states are under huge pressure, especially for the reception capacity and for also when it comes to the processing of the asylum application. That is because of the rise of the irregular arrivals. That was 330,000 last year. But it's also because the asylum applications last year was almost 1 million, 3 times more than the irregular arrivals, 924,000 to be exact. And these are sometimes people, quite often people that are not in need of international protection. It seems like 60% will have a negative asylum decision. People coming from countries where they're not in need of international protection, but using the reception facility, applying for asylum, a bit clogging up the system on this. And that means a lot of member states are now really under pressure. And on top of that, we are hosting 4 million Ukrainian refugees. So you can understand that there is a pressure in many member states.
Let's talk about Sweden's new policy. Since the end of World War II, there has been a consistent and significant surge in migration. The Iran-Iraq War, which lasted from 1980 to 1989, forced almost 7,000 Iraqis and 27,000 Iranians to seek refuge in Sweden. They were granted refugee status under the Geneva Convention. Following the 2003 US invasion of Iraq, another wave of Iraqis migrated to Sweden. A different kind of migration began in the early 2000s when Sweden joined the Schengen Agreement in 2001. What this basically means is that it was open borders for anyone, right, coming from another European countries. In 2015, following the Syrian civil war, Sweden granted asylum to, I believe, 163,000 refugees. So these are the basic, I think, things we should know about Sweden. Now, how exactly does immigration work in Sweden? I've mentioned the fact that EU or EEA, European Economic Area, and Switzerland citizens do not need a visa to enter Sweden. They have the right to live, to work, and to study in Sweden, as well as nationals from the United States, Britain, Canada, I believe, Australia, Japan, just to name a few. However, foreign nationals, on the other hand, need to apply for residence permit if they want to move to Sweden, specifically non-EU citizens. As for asylum seekers, like I said, Sweden signed the UN Refugee Convention, otherwise known as the Geneva Convention. This basically meant that it agreed to examine and grant asylum to people recognized as refugees. Now, the question I'm asking is this: is Sweden actually deporting its non-EU immigrants? Now, it is interesting because I first came to the knowledge of this new policy after I read Candace Owens' tweet, or I think I should say X. This is what the X actually said. Sweden has announced that they will be deporting any migrants that makes less than 2,322 euros per month. And she signed the tweet saying, writing, "Well done, Sweden." So your first impression after you read a tweet like that is that, oh, Sweden is going to deport its non-EU immigrants that earn this amount. However, she left a link, and so I clicked on the link. It was a YouTube video. I followed up with a brief research. So from what I was able to tell, the video in and of itself and also the tweet, they both were quite, I guess, simplistic, primarily because they lacked context, and quite frankly, they were just a tad unkind. I was taken aback, I have to be honest. Here's some context. The policy actually says that individuals who apply to obtain new work permits will be required to earn at least 27,360 Swedish krona, which is the equivalent of 2,341 euros per month, a significant increase from the 13,000 Swedish krona or 1,135 euros per month it used to be. The new policy is expected to go into effect as of the 1st of November, which, if everything went through, it's probably in effect already. So to the most important question of all, in my opinion, why this new policy, right? Why raise the bar in terms of the amount that these people can earn in order to apply for this work permit? This new policy is meant to combat illegal immigration and also to dissuade underqualified people from migrating to Sweden. The labor immigration fraud and abuse has become a commonality in Sweden and other European countries, as well as the shadow society. This new policy aims to maintain dignified welcome standards, and also individuals without grounds for protection or any legal rights to remain in Sweden would be consequently deported. It also aims to cut social benefits for non-European immigrants, because many claim that the current integration policy isn't working because it demands nothing of the immigrant, and they cite segregation, social exclusion, unemployment, poor school performances, and a lack of common Swedish values. And I'm just going to touch on that for a second, because I think, as an immigrant myself, I was born and raised in Nigeria, and then I immigrated to Italy in my teens. And what I have come to learn as an immigrant in Italy is that, out of respect for that country you are living in, it's only fair that you just make an effort to integrate, right? Also for your benefit, honestly, because if you want to be part of a country, you have to find your place in society and contribute into society in one way or the other. And a simple way of doing that is showing regards to the culture of that country you're in. And this is important because you're also proving how valuable you can be, like an asset. And also another reason is that they want to tighten the conditions for citizens by using DNA analysis to identify migrant individuals, limiting grants of resident permits based on humanitarian grounds, imposing stricter conditions on family reunion visas, and removing the possibility to apply for a work visa following the rejection of an asylum application. It is obvious that they have done their research and they've discovered that a lot of people take advantage of the loopholes in these systems, and their way of combating this misuse, right, of the resources that should be properly allocated to people who desperately need it is to implement new policies. So now the question is, what exactly will happen to these migrants who do not earn 2,341 euros a month? Because the policy doesn't actually explain or categorically state that these people will be deported. So yeah, there you have it. What are your thoughts? Do you think that other European countries should implement the same policy? Do not forget to show your support by liking and sharing this video. Subscribe to my channel while you're at it. Thank you so much.